If you missed the point of the previous video over at HashMob, there are lists that literally pay out if you break a hash. Enough of them, basically. You decrypt it, and that's really intriguing because that's. And I got that light in the background. Jesus Christ, it's a little bit too much. But it's really intriguing because it means that you can literally get paid to break. And that's and crack, and that's just absolutely amazing and incredible. And I'm like interested in it, but I'm using it, trying to get into a different set of passwords at the moment. But yeah, that's some really impressive stuff. I've been happy about this because it's been like I haven't done any of this stuff since like AOL days, and it's like now I'm just like, wow, I just relearned how to do my old skill set, and there's this free program that I don't even have to fucking program myself to target a website. But I did actually have some insight personally into how you would go about building a password cracker with a like not necessarily in code and how you would write it in code, but like we already know that we have packet sniffers and everything so that we can literally like sniff the communications protocols. And if the protocol isn't open source, it doesn't really matter. You can always reverse engineer it with packet sniffing to basically break the code that the client, whatever client it is, will use to communicate with the server on the back end. And via that process, you could literally start to construct an online password cracker to these websites, or even like a third party application to do something like, I don't know, like maybe there's one of these MMORPGs, for instance, and you want to build a third party application so that you don't have to run the game to interact with the stock with the auction house in the game. Build a trading bot, that sort of thing. Like just you'd have all kinds of abilities to reverse engineer how the game communicated with the server itself. How the client would communicate with the server. So the video game's client would communicate with the server, and just reverse engineer that communications protocol, and you're able to do all kinds of things with it. You don't just get the ability to build like password crackers. You get the ability to build a lightweight program that can just run in the background on a Linux box, even if you want. Just that just sits in the corner idle most of the time, just trading on the damn market back and forth with, in automated fashion, or going and doing, an endless amount of repeats of certain, I don't know, in FF11, it could just be going and getting the scrolls from various shops in a loop, and throwing them up on the auction house in the background, because there are people that will literally just too lazy to find them from in-game shops and just do it repeatedly. Every time somebody takes them down, put new ones up automatically. Like just build an app to do something like that in FF11, and I mean you'd have so much power because it wouldn't really matter anymore because it would be running on like continuously on your computer, like just running 24/7. In such a way that it just, even when you weren't playing and you were doing something else, it didn't really matter because there's this just application that's over there in the corner that's like so lightweight and like command line. It's got a pure command line interface, and it doesn't really, you know, do anything, in the game, or it doesn't really do anything other than take up, the resources that it would take to have it on the command line. Like that would be insanely good program, because it would mean even in my off time, I'm sitting there raking up the gill, which is, by the way, worth real world money, even though it's not, technically per the rules of the game to sell it. I mean, you could do all kinds of things via reverse engineering communications protocols. Like it's really really intriguing. But yeah, this was about hash mob, and hash mob will literally pay you to break a hash.